Okay, imagine this. It's a Tuesday evening, 2014. We're in Shobra El-Kheima, a busy part of Cairo. Things are winding down, you know. The usual city hum, family settling in for the night, sounds of dinner, maybe some TV. Just a typical evening for Professor Ayoub and his family in their fifth-floor apartment. Seems peaceful.
Right, exactly that. The kind of routine quietness that makes what happens next even more jarring.
Because then, bang, around 10 p.m., gunshots. Sharp, loud, ripping through that calm. Absolute chaos erupts. People are terrified, running out, trying to figure out where it came from. It leads them straight to Professor Ayoub's place. And the door, it's slightly open.
Ajar. That alone is
Yeah.
deeply unsettling, an invitation almost.
Inside, it's eerily quiet at first, then muffled sounds. And the scene in the living room, it's horrific. Ayoub's wife, Silvia, their two daughters, their son Maximo's all tied up, tape over their mouths, their eyes just wide with, well, absolute terror you can only imagine.
Unspeakable fear. Bound and gagged in their own home.
But someone's missing. Professor Ayoub isn't there with them. The neighbors search, the tension just mounting. And then they find him in the bedroom, lying on his bed, covered in blood, gone.
And that discovery, that's where this deep dive really begins. Because this wasn't just a robbery gone wrong. Not even close. This case, it twists and turns. Every assumption gets challenged. We're really heading into the dark core of a family's hidden life, where nothing, truly nothing, is what it seems on the surface.
So the police arrive. Sirens, flashing lights, the whole chaotic scene. You've got the traumatized family, the shocked neighbors milling around, the apartment itself. And investigators immediately notice, okay, the lock on the front door is broken. Signs of forced entry.
Yes, clear signs, which initially points towards, intruders, a break-in. But something else struck them as odd, even right then. How quiet the family was. The wife, the kids. Bound, yes, but almost unnervingly silent. No screams reported, no sounds of a struggle that alerted neighbors before the shots.
So like they were perhaps threatened into silence.
Exactly. Suggests maybe a weapon was involved right from the start, keeping them compliant. Intimidation. It's one of those details. When a scene feels a bit too neat or too quiet, it raises flags for investigators. It hints something else might be going on.
Right. Okay, so once things calm down a bit, the family gives their statements, Silvia, the mother, the children, and they tell this story. They were eating dinner. Suddenly, two armed men burst in, tied them up, gagged them. Then the men went into the bedroom, stole cash, stole gold. And the final part, they claim Professor Ayoub tried to fight back as the intruders were leaving, and that's when he was shot.
A clear narrative. Robbery, resistance, tragic outcome. But almost immediately, problems arise. First, the sheer number of victims, 5 people. Add up 4, including a grown son, Maximo's, while one person ransacks the place. It seemed unlikely for just 1 or even 2 intruders to manage so smoothly, especially if Ayoub resisted later.
And the neighbors.
Crucially, the neighbors insisted they saw no one. No one entering before, no one fleeing after the gunshots, nothing. Which led the police to think, okay, maybe they escaped over the rooftop. It was the only way to explain the lack of witnesses.
So the story isn't quite fitting the physical circumstances even then?
Not perfectly, no. These little inconsistencies start piling up right away.
Okay, so the investigation pivots. Away from just the statements, towards the hard evidence. Forensics. They process the scene, analyze Professor Ayoub's body. They find 2 bullet casings, confirming the shots. And sadly, 2 fatal wounds to Ayoub's head.
But here's where it gets really interesting and very contradictory. Remember how they found Ayoub covered on his bed?
Covered, like with a blanket?
Yes, covered, which immediately screams, was he sleeping?
Mm-hmm.
Or is he placed there after being shot and then covered? Think about it. If he fought intruders in the living room after they robbed the bedroom, why would he end up neatly covered in bed? It just doesn't track. That detail clashes violently with the family's entire account of his resistance.
Wow, okay. That's a huge red flag. And there was more, right? The bedroom itself.
Yeah, the supposed ransacking. The forensic team looked at the disarray, and it felt off, too deliberate, like someone tried to make it look messy rather than actually searching frantically for valuables. It felt staged.
Staged. So the broken lock, the messy room, maybe even the story. It could all be part of a performance.
That's exactly what investigators start thinking.
Right.
The scene is telling a different story than the witnesses are. Ayoub's position, being covered, the staged chaos, it all points away from a simple robbery. So the big question becomes, if the family's story isn't true, what is the truth? What are they hiding?
And the investigation digs deeper beyond the apartment into the victim's life. And they find something deeply disturbing. Just 3 months before the murder, Professor Ayoub had been shot at. Leaving work, two masked men on a motorcycle opened fire. He reported it then as an attempted carjacking. Random violence.
But now, in light of his murder, well, it looks very different, doesn't it? Suddenly, that earlier incident, it doesn't seem random at all. It looks like a previous attempt on his life. This suggests premeditation. A targeted killing, not a robbery gone wrong. Someone wanted him dead.
A failed attempt just months earlier, that changes everything. And then the autopsy delivers the absolute bombshell. Professor Ayoub's system contained a massive dose of narcotics, a sedative,
Enough to render him completely unconscious, knocked out cold.
meaning he couldn't possibly have been awake eating dinner. He couldn't have resisted any intruders. The family's story wasn't just cracked anymore. It was completely demolished.
Utterly shattered. The forensic evidence from his own body proved he was incapacitated, likely asleep, just as the position on the bed suggested.
So now, who drugged him? And why did the entire family lie about something so fundamental? The focus shifts dramatically. This wasn't an external attack. This looks like something from within. Betrayal, and the motive starts to crystallize. Money. Investigators uncover that Silvia, the mother, was drowning in debt. We're talking 1.2 million Egyptian pounds. It's a huge, staggering amount back in 2014. Desperate circumstances.
Absolutely desperate, a crushing weight of debt.
And then, the final nail in the coffin of their story. Financial records show Silvia sold a large quantity of gold just days before the murder. The very gold she claimed was stolen by the intruders.
Unbelievable. Selling the stolen items beforehand, the deception is just layered. It points directly back to her.
So, okay, let's piece this together. The robbery story's fake. Ayoub was drugged. Silvia had motive and lied about the gold. The police naturally zero in on Silvia and the children, and they start looking at their connections. They find out Silvia met with a young man, Bishoy, that very morning, the day of the murder. And Bishoy, he'd proposed to Silvia's daughter previously, but Professor Ayoub rejected him. Bad blood there, maybe.
A potential link, definitely. And it gets more complex. Maximos, the son, had also met with Bishoy just days before the crime.
Okay, so Bishoy is connected to both the mother and the son right before the murder.
Right. And investigators also learned Silvia was quite friendly with her daughter's current fiancé, a guy named Samir. She visited his kiosk often. So you see this hidden network emerging. Bishoy, the rejected suitor, Samir, the current fiancé, the son Maximos, and Silvia at the center.
The interrogations must have been intense. How did they react?
It was apparently quite revealing. Maximos, the son, seemed very tense, almost like he was easily led, suggestible. Silvia, on the other hand, came across as incredibly strong-willed, controlling, maintaining her composure.
A powerful matriarch figure.
Exactly, but the pressure eventually broke through. The confession started. Bishoy cracked first. He admitted Silvia approached him, asked him straight up, "Kill my husband."
She asked him to kill Ayoub.
Directly. He refused, said he couldn't do it. But Silvia didn't give up. She knew he worked at a pharmacy, so she persuaded him to get her a powerful sedative instead. He gave her the drug, told her the dosage on the morning of the murder. His role was incapacitation.
Wow. So he provided the means to drug Ayoub, but he didn't pull the trigger. Who did? This leads to Samir, right? The current fiancé.
Yes. Samir's confession blew the case wide open. He admitted everything. Silvia promised him 50,000 Egyptian pounds and, crucially, immediate marriage to her daughter if he helped kill Ayoub.
Money and marriage. Powerful motivators.
And get this, Samir said even his fiancée, Ayoub's own daughter, pressured him into it. She was in on it too.
The daughter, too. This is unbelievable.
And Samir confirmed he was the one who tried to kill Ayoub 3 months earlier. The motorcycle shooting. That was him. The first failed attempt.
So this plot had been going on for months. What about the night itself, the robbery?
Samir laid out the whole meticulous plan. Silvia drugged Ayoub's dinner. Once he was unconscious in bed, Maximos, the son, tied up his mother and sisters. Stage setting. Samir was scheduled to arrive at 9:30 p.m. Maximos would let him in. But Samir didn't come alone. He brought another man, Mohammed. Mohammed was hired for 20,000 EGP to be the actual shooter.
He outsourced the killing itself.
Yes. And how did Silvia pay Mohammed? With the gold she'd sold days earlier, the stolen gold. After the shooting, they deliberately messed up the closet, broke the door lock, made it look like a forced entry and robbery. Every detail was planned.
It's just chillingly calculated. The mother, Silvia, was the architect of her husband's murder, recruiting her daughter's fiancé, a rejected suitor, bringing in a hired killer, and manipulating her own children, Maximos and the daughter, to be complicit. It's almost beyond comprehension.
It really is a study in manipulation.
Yeah.
Silvia systematically turned her children against their father. She painted him as this awful, miserly man while she was the one facing prison over debts. She convinced them his death was the only way out, the only way they'd get inheritance money. She appealed to their greed, and they bought into it.
Even Maximos, who seems so controlled during interrogation.
His detailed confession apparently lay bare every single step of his mother's plan. He implicated everyone, including himself. Yet Silvia, she denied everything, right to the very end, maintained her innocence despite all the evidence, despite her own son's words.
Just refused to admit her role as the mastermind.
Total denial. It showcases the incredible, almost terrifying level of control she exerted, driven by that potent mix of desperation and greed. It's a stark reminder, isn't it? How seemingly normal lives, normal families can hide the darkest secrets, the potential for betrayal from those closest to you.
This deep dive into the Shubra El-Kheima shadow, it really does show that the most frightening monsters can sometimes be the people we know, living right beside us. And the deepest betrayals can happen right inside the family home.
And it leaves you, the listener, with a really unsettling question to think about. How far could desperation push someone? What unseen manipulations might be shaping events and environments that look perfectly ordinary on the surface? It's a chilling thought, definitely. The secrets hidden in plain sight.